hoping we wouldn't have to take those studs out. The column actually, the column sits here, so we would have had to take one stud out. I was hoping that junction could stay. I wasn't sure which way that base plate was going to go, but the plate's going through there, so we're going to cut that back. I think that's loose now. So we didn't win on this one, we had to take the studs out, but we've worked out for most of the columns. We've worked out the studs so that we don't have to take any studs out and can just cut the bottom plate. We've also stopped the ply in a few cases. I mean, we probably could have plied the backside there, but you can see it's marked out that we've got to cut the plate from there to there for the tag, for the base plate, and then the column sitting, should I take that back, the column sitting there to there, and the tag's going from there, and I'm wrong, it's going underneath that stud there. So we can leave the stud and we're just going to check it underneath it. But for most of the places, we've got steel going in a spot like that. As you can see, we've left that corner out too. So we're just going to cut 90mm off the top there and cut this plate back to there for the tag. I think most cases too, like this end here, there's no studs in there. So most cases we're good to go. We're just going to take out the bottom plate and the top plate, which we expected for, and then steel can start going in. That's where the column's finishing. We're going to plumb up either one of those marks. We can plumb it up because we know that wall's braced. We'll mark the top plate and we'll cut off that 180mm. Before we do that though, obviously we're going to get rid of these nogs and cut a little slot in the plate. So firstly, this stud's going to be disattached, and then secondly, that ply bracing isn't going to be holding that wall anymore. So I'm going to get a couple bits of timber, get one of that height there. We're going to shoot it onto the stud, shoot it onto that stud. That's going to lock the stud into place. And we'll run one on this side of that top plate there too to hold the top plate in place. We'll do it on one side and then we'll get rid of that temp brace as well. So when the steel gets installed, they can pull the steel up, sit it in the wall, and that way it's also going to lean against our blocks we put in, so it's not going to fall out, and we know our walls are secured and tightened together. Alright, while I'm putting the steel in, can I get you to go around, do all the concrete steps? Dude, did you see my phone?
Fuck.
That like landed there.
You're not be getting that.
Oh, shit, do we have a cover for that? I kind of want to put something over that. I almost just lost my phone. Wow, alright, that could have been bad. These are the concrete screws we're using, and I'm going to get ripped into in the comments because the builder didn't bring any washers, did he? He didn't want any washers. These are flange heads, so these serve as a washer, these wide heads here. Obviously, if we used a washer with them, it's going to be even better. They don't call for it though, so yeah, you guys can rip into me in the comments. It's an M10 bolt, which we have there, at 600 centers max. While Mitch has been doing the concrete screws, I went through and finished cutting out everywhere for the steel, and as you can see, some of the columns are in. In terms of connecting the steel to the frame, I'm firstly going to double up this bottom plate so it runs all the way through into the steel column and butts into the stud on the other side. And as you can see, we've gone through and drilled out a few holes for those threads to sit in. Now, I actually did a video of this process on TikTok about 3 years ago. It was one of the first TikToks I did, and it was one of my first videos that got several million views, mostly for the wrong reason. A lot of the comments were saying how bad this was because my timber's directly connected to the steel. There wasn't a moisture barrier in between. there's no plastic or anything between the timber and the steel. Now throughout my career, I've framed for heaps of builders, a few different companies, a lot of people, and I've also watched a lot of content of Australian framers, and I've never once seen anyone do any type of plastic or barrier between the steel and the frame. Just because it's something that isn't done in the industry in Australia and I haven't seen it before doesn't necessarily mean it's right. But I'm actually curious to retouch the subject to hear people's opinions if we should be putting a moisture barrier between the steel and the timber, or if someone actually does do that. Even though this is the way that I've always done it and I'm still doing it this way, if there's ever a better way to do something or something I'm doing wrong, I always want to know to keep perfecting the craft. Oh, it's turned out to be a horrible day. It keeps raining, but the worst part is it's one of those days where it rains, then it stops for a second, sun comes out, it's so hot, you get down in your t-shirt, and then it just comes out of nowhere and starts raining again. So we've worked through most of it, but now we're gonna stop, have smoko, go get something to eat. I've been eating pretty good recently, but today it's cold, it's wet. I think we just need a hot, greasy feed, which I mean, it's not the worst idea. I'll get a bit more body fat on me, meaning I'll stay warmer in winter, I won't get sick. So in other words, we're eating healthy today. Alright, fun fact, that vacant block of land, that was where I probably spent my most dodgiest day as a carpenter. Oh. So it was about 3 years ago. It was actually a boarded up, well, at the time it wasn't a boarded up, there was just an old abandoned house there, and we had to go and board it up before it got demoed to look like it is now. I think there's a few plans getting put in place to build a big apartment block there, but what we had to do was go there and board up all the windows, all the doors. The issue is, when we rocked up, there were 3 or 4 people inside, homeless people inside, and I think they were smoking up, didn't know what they were on, but we had to kick these guys out of the house, and then all day while we're boarding up, they keep coming back, yelling at us, abusing us. Obviously they had their shit inside, like, I mean, it's a rough situation for them. But yeah, we had to go through, board up the entire house. Super sketchy walking through this dark house before we boarded up the final door. We had to check every room. House was trash, there was rubbish everywhere. And yeah, I think I went past a week later and they obviously went back in. The drugs were probably in the house, so they ripped off all the boards and went back in. So yeah, we did the most dodgiest day of my career so far, and it was all for nothing. All right, since that steel's in there now, I can put a double stud here and we can frame the door opening. A quick tip while I'm doing this is I've got a 90mm plate here, and that's all we need, just a 90mm there, and then our studs on top of it. One thing I want to do is still get a concrete nail through the plate, holding it in place. What's going to happen though is if I shoot that timber's going to split 9 times out of 10. So a little trick we can do, get something a bit bigger. I'll mark 90. That's 90 there. And I'll shoot it just that side of the line. And if I shoot it there, the plate's not going to split. So we shoot that in, it holds it in place, I'll put my studs in, and then we can just cut the rest of the plate out later like you would do with any other doorway. Posies are here, we still can't really start them yet. Obviously there's no steel in there though. This is where the steel is going to go up 6 meters. And that's because there was no crane today to lift all the big steel up. So they've gone through, they've put all the 3 meter columns in, this small one for the kitchen window there, and we've got a few small columns around everywhere. We're just going to pack the steel in now, and I think we're waiting for another week for the steelies to come back in and put up those big beams and those big columns. One thing I've noticed straight away on this posi plan though is there's a bit of an issue. We knew it was a bit of a grey area when we started. And if you watched one of the earlier videos, you'd remember this beam that went through here. It had some weird marking on it. I don't know if I wrote it down. It was in a roof space, I believe the marking was. Which makes no sense because that window frame is framed up, or that door frame's framed up at the right height right now. Now what we thought may have happened is they thought that that wall line would have continued through, and then if that was the case, that lintel would be sticking up into the roof space or subfloor space. But that's worked, that's at the right height there now. Our posies are gonna run over that wall. But I've noticed straight away on the plan, they've got that beam marked there, being in the floor space, and our posies are stopping and starting either side of it. And they're gonna be attached with the joist hanger too, which just doesn't make sense. That should not be the case. So we obviously need to put either another beam up there, build a little nibble up there, do something up there to catch these posies. We're not gonna worry about that today though. We're just gonna go back in and keep filling in all around the steel. If there were 2 studs, I might get the spade bit to take out like 20mm and then use an impact to put a bugle through there. Not with 3, and this is our load bearing stud too. And it's so dumb, that's why I hate doing steel afterwards. I think what I'm gonna have to do disconnect that strap, recip these 2 studs out, and then we can easily shoot the stud off to the steel, and then that's going to be secure, and then put it back in. We shouldn't have put that in, but like, you're trying to build bullets beforehand, but you can't build everything, and it's what can we, what can't we build. I should have known that, but that's why I hate doing steel afterwards. Someone's made a small mistake when laying in studs. This is obviously the end of the wall, and it was when we framed it. And studs always need to be plumb, or not plumb, sorry. And studs always need to be straight. And you can see we've got that's a massive bow in that one there. Luckily, if I have a clamp, which I don't have out, and Mitchie doesn't either. Oh, I'm just gonna get a clamp anyway. This should get it. Obviously I can't get my level on the stud now because the clamp's in the way. But the steel was straight, we've checked it, it is straight. And obviously we're just gonna go flush with the outside of the steel. So there it is. Beautiful. And that is perfect now. So the crane operator just came to source out what crane he needs to get all the steel all the way to the back over there. And the crane's gonna work, but what we have to do is now move all these beams here and all those posies. So we're just gonna chuck the tools away and then, yeah, do a bit of labouring. It's not my day today. I've been taking all the posies, all these larger posies to the back. And with this one, I tried to step off the concrete slab and, oh shit. So I was up here and I stepped forward with all my weight and this foot here landed there and I bloody rolled my ankle. Oh fuck. Yeah, I'm good. I just fucked my ankle. Yeah, I'm all good. Oh well, we still got to move this timber though, so I might as well get it done now while the adrenaline's still kicking in. But she definitely doesn't feel too good. Look, it's not too bad, I can walk with it. I can definitely feel it though, but I don't think my ankle's good enough right now to move all of these, especially those big 300 beams, over rough terrain. I'm just going to tweak it even more. So I think we're just going to leave it at this for today, and we need to come back some other time. I think we've got a week until the crane comes. We've got to come back some other time and move all those beams. I've actually never rolled my ankle on site before, and I've always worn the same brand of boots. I think they're Steel Blue, and I've actually changed boots less than a week ago. These are about 5-6 days old. They don't have as much of ankle support at the back. And funny that as soon as I change to a different pair of boots, I roll my ankle. So I reckon that's a bad omen. I need to go buy some new boots. Anyway, we'll see how she pulls up tomorrow. I'm going to be trying something new tomorrow, and I'm actually going to try doing render for the first time on my own house. I'm going to start with that little bench area that we did where I built that curved bench around the fireplace. We're going to start there and we'll see how it goes. I'll hopefully make a video of it if it turns out any good.